Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I would like to extend warm wishes for the Christmas season, and I'm truly glad to have you joining me today for my fourth annual Christmas special. With a busy year, I have not had much time to put out videos, but I do want to provide a Christmas special each year to stay in touch with you all. We have a really neat video today, and I'm going to show you some Christmas-themed hacks of the original Donkey Kong port while talking about some information from a recent interview with the programmer of that game, Garry Kitchen. And that is the topic for today's video.
It's Donkey Kong, the arcade sensation, and now you can play it at home.
Hang on, sweetheart! I'm gonna save you!
Now you can play Donkey Kong on your ColecoVision, Atari VCS, or Intellivision video game system. Donkey Kong has multiple screens, just like the arcade game.
You're not gonna stop me, you stupid ape!
Play Donkey Kong on your ColecoVision, Atari VCS, or Intellivision video game system.
Don't worry, darling! I'll save you!
Before we get started, if you like my videos, please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons below, and hit that bell icon if you want to be notified of new videos. It really helps out a small channel like this one, and it is highly appreciated. Now onto the video. Today we have 3 great Christmas hacks for the original Atari 2600 Donkey Kong. But before we get to these, let's take a look at the ColecoVision version. Coleco was founded in 1932 as the Connecticut Leather Company, which is how they got their name. The company produced leather shoe repair products and latex rubber footwear for the war effort. If you are around my age, you know Coleco as a toy company, which they fully committed to in 1954 and sold off their leather business. When they acquired the Kestrel Corporation in 1963, Coleco became the largest manufacturer of above-ground swimming pools in the world.
A Coleco pool brings the fun of swimming right into your own backyard. And to make sure it's lasting fun, Coleco builds extra protection into every pool.
In the 70s, they started to run into financial difficulties and further diversified into the snowmobile market. Now, I was very confused when I first read this. However, I looked further into it. And what they should have said is they were making children's plastic sleds shaped like a snowmobile. I've inserted a few pictures of it here. In 1973, they pivoted again into the electronics game business as one of the many in the Pong console market and continued with handheld and mini tabletop arcade games. In the early 80s, they started to search for the perfect packing game for their upcoming video game console. They were able to work out a deal with Nintendo for the console port license rights for Donkey Kong. The ColecoVision game console was launched in 1982 and came bundled with a copy of Donkey Kong. The system was quite popular, and as you can see here, more powerful than the Atari 2600. Now that's something you would never hear me admit as a kid. Coleco also ported the game to other competing systems, including the Atari 2600 and Commodore 64. Okay, on to the Christmas hacks. The first one here was done by Philip Frey and goes all the way back to 2001. It's called Donkey Claus, and the story has been changed around a little bit. The gingerbread man has stolen all the presents, and Santa must climb up the girders to retrieve them while avoiding the hordes of elves. On the second screen, Santa must shut down the conveyor belts by disconnecting them. Garry Kitchen was the programmer for the Atari 2600 version. He was contacted to port the game through his brother Steve, who had connections to an executive at Coleco. He was given 90 days to develop the port and only 4K to do it. Kitchen received no assistance from Nintendo and minimal aid from Coleco, who only provided him with an arcade machine for temporary use. These factors, combined with the limited memory of the Atari 2600 cartridges, forced him to omit 2 of the original game's 4 levels, and all of the music and cutscenes. The hammer is still present, but with none of the accompanying music. Okay, the second Christmas hack came out in 2016 by Neo Tokyo and Kevin Moss. It's simply called Donkey Kong Christmas. So the big question all these years is, did Coleco want the game, limited, to show the superiority of the ColecoVision system? I guessed in my Donkey Kong video that they wanted the game good enough to sell, but not too good. And I was definitely on the right track. But the answer was even more basic than that. John, over at GenXGrownup, was able to interview Garry Kitchen, and he asked them that very question. With his kind permission, I'm able to submit the following answer.
Did they intentionally say, Mr. Kitchen, just half-ass this and tank it?
Not a chance. Not a chance. There's not an ounce of truth to that rumor. I can tell you exactly what happened.
Wonderful.
I was hired. I had 90 days to do it. That was it. 90 days.
Wow.
There were 3 cartridge sizes available at that point in time for the Atari. 2K, which I had used on Space Jockey, 4K, and 8K. Yep. There was no way that they were going to spend another, I don't know what it was, 50 cents, 75 cents on going to the bigger ROM for 2 reasons. Number one, they knew if they got it into the market in time, if it missed Christmas that year, all bets are off.
Yeah.
As long as it made Christmas and it was out in volume, they were going to sell every unit. Every unit they manufactured, they were going to sell. They knew that. The demand was so high for the product. The only way they wouldn't sell every unit is if it was just garbage. Didn't even turn on, had one screen, the graphics were terrible, all that. So, long as it was a decent quality game and it made it out in time, they were going to sell every unit.
To put it in a nutshell, instead of a fully fleshed out Donkey Kong, Coleco reasoned they could sell just as many cartridges with only half the game in the name of corporate profits. Now on to the final Christmas hack. I don't have much information on this one, and it does not seem to be available on the web anymore. But it does have Pauline in her Christmas outfit saving Mario, and was done in 2012. So I guess the final part of the discussion is this. Did Coleco's risk pay off? Did the short time period and refusal to provide more memory pay off for them? After all, Garry did say he definitely could have added the additional 2 levels and probably a little bit more with an AK cartridge and more time.
We are a company, we're a public company, we have shareholders, we're going to make money. And I will tell you that I read an analyst report the following year looking back on 1982 Coleco. Yep. They put out 550 SKUs that year across their entire product line of everything. That single ROM cartridge that I did was 25% of their revenue in 1982.
Wow.
25% of the revenue came from that one cartridge, according to analysts, not me. I think they did about 4 million units before Christmas, $100 million in commercial sales. Nobody was, there was nothing but good thoughts going on here. Nobody was plotting anything. And there were no decisions to be made because there was no other path than the path we took.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the Donkey Kong Christmas hacks and my short history on Coleco. I thought it was quite interesting to hear the answer to a mystery about whether the Atari Donkey Kong was sabotaged or not. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we hope you join us for future videos as we continue to explore the world of classic gaming. Until next time, happy gaming!